Yo, what's going on, guys? All right, so I just want to do a quick video explaining geometry on a BMX bike. So there's thousands of videos all over YouTube about it, and I really did not research it until I came across an issue. First and foremost, huge shout out to danscomp.com. I ordered a bike off them. A lot of you guys been noticing I've been riding a lot of BMX, and it kind of is like refreshing the memory of when I was a child. And so what I decided to do with me and my son, since this whole pandemic thing has happened, we haven't been out fishing, we haven't been out hunting, and on top of that, with my back issue that I've been having, um, I got approval from my physical therapist to get on a bicycle and start riding bicycles around. And so what I did was bought me and my son a bike. I was the first one to get the bike. I bought a red line, as you guys seen, all original red line, beautiful, beautiful chrome and black red line, and so, and then I had got my son a little cheapy Walmart bike from a good friend of mine who sold it for really, really, really cheap. Well, the problem with that is these bikes started falling apart on us. The Walmart bike, like, just I don't know, it kind of held up, but it was to an extent of, where I knew I was going to be replacing parts on this bike. So what I went ahead and did was I purchased a bike from Scotty uh, from SC Bicycles, and we got that bike signatured. You guys seen the video? I already have that posted up here on YouTube. And my son was blown away. Super awesome for Scotty. Thank you guys, Scotty, Maddie, and BK for signing my son's bike. We got him the 21 Kink Curb BMX bike, and he loves it. And then I have my red line. I got my red line for a really, really crazy price, like really good price. These red lines from back in the 90s are like expensive. I'm talking like $1,200 they sell for. And so I was riding the red line for a little bit, and then things started to go wrong with it. Like I started blowing out the bearings of the stem, the front stem or whatnot, and we had to replace those with sealed bearings. The top cap broke. I had to replace that, and I was like, it's time to retire this bike because I do not want to mess it up. And so what I went ahead and did was ordered a bike from danscomp.com. I ordered the Fitco Park XS, and it's a 20 inch. And little did I know the geometry on all these bikes have been changed. And so what happened was I got the bike in the mail, put it together, and I sat on the bike and pedaled backwards, and I was like, this bike feels like an 18 inch. This is like crazy weird. Just the feel of it, like the back end was lower. I felt like my knees were going to hit my chest. And so what I did was some research, and come to find out the XS stands for extra small. Duh. But it's a 20-inch bike. So what the XS is, the geometry of the XS is what they did was lower the chainstay, which is the back end of the bike. So you have your front diamond of the bike, which is the top tube. That's a 20 inch. And then you have the chainstay, which is the back diamond of the bike. And what they did was lowered that part and shortened that part up. And also the crank arms, they shortened the crank arms up. And that bike felt weird. Like I'm talking like with my bad back, there was no way I was going to be able to ride this bike. So I got a hold of danscomp.com. Amazing, amazing customer service. I have never in my life ever seen customer service from a company this amazing. Now they are under new management, and I've read some reviews on the previous management where there was a lot of issues where people weren't receiving their products, or there was bad reviews on customer service. Well, I'm going to tell you, danscomp.com, the new management and the new team they have is crazy, crazy amazing. I was contacting them through Facebook Messenger, and it was instant. They were on it. They were, consistently communicating with me. And so when I got on this bike, I pedaled it backwards. I was like, man, I can't ride this. I paid about $500 for the bike. I asked my daughter, like, hey, do you want this bike? She's like, no, because she's going to start driving. She's got her license and all that. So she had no interest in the bike. So I got a hold of danscomp.com, and I was like, hey, look, this bike is not going to fit me. It is way too small. Can I please return it? And so one of the problems was is that I got on the bike and I pedaled it. But I did not take the bike riding around the block or nothing. What I did was put the bike together. I got outside in the front of my door, pedaled backwards, and I was like, okay, this isn't gonna work for me. And so I explained that to them. I was like, the bike has not been ridden; it's just been pedaled, and that's it. And so they ended up getting a hold of management. Management said, yes, send the bike back, which I just did right now. And thank God, because there's no way I'd have been able to afford, two bikes. Even though once they approved of me being able to possibly get a return, I went ahead and jumped on another bike right away because me and my son haven't been bike riding because I don't want to mess up my red line anymore. And so what I ended up ordering was the Sabrosa Salvador XL. And so yes, XL. And what this is, it's a 21-inch top tube, a little bit longer, and the geometry on the bike sounded like to be more, suitable for riders who are 5'6" to 6 foot. I'm 5'9", 180 pounds, and this bike, the geometry of this bike fit me perfect. So, but moral of the story is, what I want to let you guys know is, if you're in the market for a bike, first of all, go to danscomp.com because they have everything in stock. Right now, the pandemic sport is BMX riding. So a lot of you guys who are going to bike shops in your local stores and stuff like that are noticing there is no bikes in stock because of the whole pandemic. A lot of people are buying bikes, buying PlayStations, Xboxes, those certain type of hobbies. And because just for the fact that, if let's say your state shut down due to the pandemic, you're still able to get on a bike and go ride the bike around the block, or you can play video games or whatnot. We're kind of burned out on that, but so yeah, the pandemic sport now is BMX riding. So if you guys are looking for a bike, you can't find one at your local shop, which I wish I could have. We have a local shop here, a good friend Frank who runs the local shop here, but his stock was completely wiped out. And it's hard for him to keep anything in stock because they're selling out so quick. So I went to danscomp.com, and they have everything in stock. But let me jump into this. If you're in the market for a bike, make sure you read the description of the bike. And I believe also danscomp.com has a chart, which I wish I would have known about. It has a chart showing, the size bike you should buy depending on how you're going to ride. Me personally, I do a little bit of grinds here and there. I got pegs on my bikes. I don't grind. I don't jump double, pegs on rails and stuff. But I like to get, one of the pegs up there and, slide it just because it sounds cool and I feel like I'm doing something special. But make sure you check the geometry of these bikes, because even though it reads 20-inch BMX bike, doesn't mean specifically it's going to be, the 20-inch normal bike like you're used to riding, like these Walmart bikes and stuff like that. The geometry of these bikes have been changed, so know that. And I wish I would have. After I purchased this bike and went through this whole process of the return, which was really easy, then I started to research, geometry on YouTube of bikes, and I'm like, wow, it has massively changed compared to back in the 90s. I'm almost 40 years old. And when I was riding, it was like you jump on a bike and you're satisfied and you just ride along. Now the geometry is just absolutely insane. Make sure you pay attention to crank arm length. Make sure you pay attention to the chainstay length. Make sure you pay attention to the top tube length. And also, there's different categories of bikes. So there's like the park bike, there's the street bike, and then there's also the dirt bike. So make sure you check the geometry of those bikes. Also, another thing I want to add is sealed bearings. Sealed bearings is a must if you're going to be riding a lot. I live in Arizona. When I lived back in California, sealed bearings didn't really matter to me because we were in a grassy area. There was not much dirt. But here in Arizona, everything gets dirt in it. Everything gets dust in it, and everything seems to lock up. So I went with sealed bearings. Both bikes that I ordered, which was the Fedco that I just shipped back, that had all sealed bearings, and the Sabrosa Salvador XL that I have coming today, that has all sealed bearings. But it's just a video because I know a lot of people has been watching the videos of me riding bikes and they're like, I want to get a bike now. So if you are in the market for a bike, make sure you check the geometry of the bike, because the geometry of the bikes have changed dramatically. It's not like it used to be back in our days. And I know a lot of my viewers are older folks who want to jump on a bicycle and maybe go ride with their kids. check the geometry of your bike. If you don't plan on doing anything like crazy, or joining your kid in the skate park, get like a mountain bike, or a 10 speed or something in that nature, if you just plan on riding. But if you plan on going into the skate park with your kid, and you want to go down some of the what are they called, bows, if you want to go down to some of the bows and ride with your kid along and stuff like that, then I would suggest a BMX bike. If you're like within my height or my weight, I would go a 21 inch, or you can even go up to like a 26 inch, and it still stays in the BMX category, where it looks like a BMX, but it's a bigger frame model, bigger tires and whatnot. Also, another thing of the geometry that I want to mention into this video is tire size. So I ordered the Salvador XL, the Sabrosa, and I noticed on the tire size it's like a 20 by 2.35. And I was looking at some tires because I'm gonna do like a Deadpool theme on this bike, and I seen some other tires that I really liked that were like a black and red, and I was like, wow, those are like a 20 by 2.50 or 2.45 or something in that nature. And so yeah, it's like geometry on bikes have dramatically changed. So if you're like wanting to change up tires, make sure you're paying attention to the rim size, make sure you're paying attention to the tire size. What was explained to me today by danscomp.com about the tires was, they said, first receive the bike, see how much of a gap you have between your tire and the end part of the fork, and if you think you have another quarter inch or an inch or something like that, then you can go bigger tires. If it's a really tight fit, then do not go a bigger size tire, because then what it will do is rub, and you can't bring your tire lower than what your fork standouts are. And so a lot of geometry on that. Let's jump into this. So the reason the geometry changed within the tire length from the forks. So here's your tires, here's your forks, and there's usually that gap in between, like so. The reason the geometry changed on that is because the foot plant tricks. So say you're riding your bike, you put your foot in the front of the fork, and between the fork and the tire, then you can bring your rear end up, and then you can do like tail spins and stuff like that. The geometry changed on that for the fact that some people like a smaller gap. So when you put your foot between the tire and the fork, you're not smashing your toe, or your toe's not getting jammed in between that. So there's the geometry change on that. Like I said, the geometry on these BMX bikes have changed dramatically, and it's insane. Excuse me, I need my human being. But geometry is crazy. Okay, another geometry part of the BMX bike we will discuss is handlebar length. So now it goes from like an 8.5 to like a 9 foot, or maybe it's 9 inch. No, it's not 9 foot. Excuse me, I'm stupid. 8.5 inches to like 9 inches and even taller. And so what that is change the geometry of the handlebars. So you get higher up on your handlebars if you have we won't even talk about the stems yet. That's going to be another subject. But handlebar length. So there's like longer, higher, shorter, narrower. The geometry on that's changed. And then we'll talk about the neck, which your handlebars go on the neck. There's a front load and a top load. And on my red line, I have a front load. What that does is puts the handlebars out a little bit further out and less height. So your handlebars are a little bit lower and a little bit upper. And you can change that geometry with putting washers and making your neck, the stem on the bike, go higher or lower. It goes on and on, you guys. Geometry on BMX bikes are insane. So that's there's just so much changes. It's crazy. So you can change the geometry of your neck. A lot of us back in the old days, what we used to do is have our handlebars way up, our seat posts really high, and we used to ride really high. Now everybody's like BMX bikes, you see the seats are all the way smashed down into the frame. Handlebars are like straight up because what they want, and then their seats are pivotal. Now there's pivotal seats, which is more geometry on bikes. Before, our seats, like now you can put an L wrench down into the middle of your seat post, which is there's a hole there, and you can change the geometry of your seat post or your seat, so you can make your seat lean back like that, forward. Before, we used to have to unbolt screws on the sides and the inside and be able to change, the seats or whatever. It's crazy. Geometry of these BMX bikes is crazy, but I see the advantage of a lot of the geometry on these bikes. So, for instance, let's go ahead and change this up. Let's say you like your seat very, very low and you don't plan on doing any kind of bar spins. So you're going to have your bars centered. Your bars are going to be centered and your seat post is going to be very low. So that gives you, the durability of being able to jump and not, hit your butt on the seat, or if you don't plan on sitting down very much. Now, if you planned on doing, bar spins and stuff like that, you're going to want your seat post a little bit higher. That way you can crunch your knees on the seat. Here's the seat. You want to crunch your knees on the seat, let go of the handlebars, and then spin them and then grab them back. And what that does is when your knees are crunched down on the seat post or on the seat, it allows your bike to stay steady while you let go of the handlebars. So it goes on and on. Ever since I got this Fitco Park XS bike, I started just like researching the heck out of the geometry on bikes, and I was like, wow, it has massively extended to a whole new world. Like, literally, BMX is a whole new world compared to when we were riding back in the 90s. Like, I think I started riding like 92, 93 or something like that. Yeah, I'm old. And as I stated, I would go to Walmart and, buy a bike and be happy. Luckily, I was like gifted I had a Redline and I had a GT, all chrome. And those bikes were 20-inch top tubes like the Redline I have now. And there was no different geometry. It was like you jump on the bike and you ride and you're happy. But now the geometry on these bikes are so extensive. If you buy a bike, make sure you look at the description of the bike and make sure it fits you. So don't make the mistake I did and just be like, oh, this is a cool gold bike. It's a 20-inch. I'm gonna buy it and end up like how I did. The returning of the bicycle was super easy. Dancecomp.com made it super, super easy for me to be able to do. Stress free, even though I was stressed out because it was a $500 bike. And then I went on top of that and bought another bike, which is, $1,000 something out of my pocket. But they made it super easy for returns. And as I said, the bike is now returned. And we're just waiting for them to receive the bike, and then we'll be good to go. My new bike should be here shortly, and I'll probably be making a separate video on that, doing an unboxing. I have an unboxing of the Fitco Park XS. So if you guys want me to upload that video, let me know. I can do that. But as I said, I just kind of did that unboxing and didn't really talk in the video or nothing like that. But this bike that I'm getting now, I will definitely, since I'm jumping into the geometry of bikes, I will definitely discuss, I'll talk when I'm unboxing the video or unboxing the bike. But I'm trying to keep these videos short. So the unboxing takes a little bit longer because I'm very cautious of, how I put a bike together. I make sure I do it properly. On the pedals, one thing I'm going to mention on the pedals, if you get a brand new bike and you got to put it together on the pedals, you guys, there is a line on one of the stems on the bike, on the pedals, excuse me, and one of the pedals does not have a stem or a line on the stem. If it has a line on the stem, it goes to your left side. Every single bike part that has a left or right, if it has a line on it, it goes to the left. If it doesn't have a line on it, it goes to the right. So there's some more geometry craziness. Before, we used to just throw on the pedals on a bike and be good to go. So it's advanced. Also, let's jump into some geometry here. So, for instance, if you're gonna put pegs on your bike, like one on each side, if you're not gonna run four, there's the geometry of left foot riders, right foot riders. Me, I'm goofy foot, so I ride left foot, but I like to also grind left foot or to the left. I don't do spins, but if I was, I would probably spin to the left. And what they say is, if you're a right foot rider, then you spin to the left and you grind to the left. If you're a left foot, it's the vice versa. It's the opposite. So if you're a left foot, then you grind to the right and you spin to the right. But I'm goofy foot. I was trying to trying to adjust myself to get used to the pegging and stuff, but I ride left foot and I feel more comfortable, getting up this way and riding than to try to do it this way. So if that makes any sense. But I could go on and on, you guys. I'm telling you, the geometry on BMX bikes is mind blowing. It's like if you ever see that Fortnite emote, craziness. But anyways, huge shout out to danscomp.com. And another company I want to shout out for sure is Scotty Kramer's bike shop, which is scbikeshops.com. I was going to order the Hyper Wizard with the mission parts. That bicycle was going to cost me about $800. But I went onto the website and they were out. And I was like, I don't really feel like bugging them and, having them rebuild one, which they would have anyways. And I love supporting Scotty Kramer. And the reason behind that is because I too am partially handicapped. I have a lot of, back issues and stuff like that going on. And when I watch Scotty Kramer's videos and, the inspiration of him getting on a BMX bike and riding after his major accident, being handicapped and stuff like that, it really pushed me out to be like, you know what? I told my son, let's go jump on a bike. Let's go ride. And then I got approval from physical therapy, and they're like, yeah, absolutely. Bike riding is going to be great for you as long as you're not doing backflips or anything crazy like that, which I don't do. So, bike riding's been the new era for everybody who's been in this pandemic stress. Just getting on a bicycle and riding has been it's mind blowing. It just really clears your mind. You get on a bike and you just trail ride, and I'm enjoying the bike rides with my son. He's enjoying the bike rides. You guys seen the unboxing of his video for his BMX bike from Scotty Kramer. They signatured it, him, Maddie, and BK signatured his 2021 Kink Curb. I did get him a lower level bike, just to make sure that that's what he wants to do, and he loves that bicycle. It is not all sealed bearings, which is another geometry. I probably already talked about that in the video, but we won't go there. But yeah, he loves that bike, and so I think here in the future, once I get more advanced and I heal up better and my back gets better and I can start maybe doing some tricks again, because I used to be a flat ground BMXer. I used to do wheelies. I used to do foot pegs, ice picks, everything. I was always, a grinder. I used to always run pegs and just grind. But I think once my back gets better and I feel comfortable and, I'm to that extent where I know I can start doing more advanced tricks, I think I'm going to start doing a lot of bike riding, at these skate parks and doing tricks for you guys. But in the meantime, I'm still partially handicapped and we can't really do too much like that. But once I do jump back to that level and get myself back to normal, I think I am going to order the Hyper Wizard with the, what is it? Coat? No. Hyper Wizard with, I forget what the parts are called. Oh my goodness. It's not Colt parts. Hyper Wizard. It's not the mission part kit. So the bike's like $1,200. Oh, Snafu. So it's going to be the Hyper Wizard with all Snafu parts, and it is all jet fuel. It's a whole jet fuel bike that Scotty Kramer sells. So I think that's the next bike that I'm going to be purchasing here in the future. Not soon. Mind you guys, I just literally dropped $1,000 on 2 bikes, and hopefully everything goes smooth with the refund for the other bike, and it's only going to cost me $500 for the bike that I'm getting today. But yeah, once I advance it, I'm going to get back to that level and get a really high-end bike, and then I will pass this Salvador to my son, and then my son, can hang up his Kink Curb with the signatures, and we can keep my red line and his Kink Curb parked and signed, and it says his bike signed, and my red lines, means a lot to me. I'm going to keep both of those bikes parked up, or maybe hang them up on the wall and then call it good. So anyways, I jibber-jabbed enough. I just wanted to let you guys know about the geometry of these BMX bikes, and you guys been watching my videos of me and my son riding and stuff. So if you're in the market for a BMX bike, just make sure you read the description. If your bike shops in town do not have any bicycles, stay away from Walmart, you guys. I don't normally bash companies, but don't get yourself a Walmart bike for the fact that you will be replacing that bike quick. I mean, those bikes are not put together very well. Unless you're going to get like a 10-speed or a mountain bike from them or something like that, then you're not going to really beat up the bike. But if you're getting a BMX bike, please, even the parents. So if, my younger viewers, you can let your parents know, do not buy a Walmart bike. Pay that little bit of extra and buy yourself a bike from like Dan's Comps. You know, get yourself like a Fitco bike, or a Kink bike, something in that nature. Stay away from the Walmart bikes, please, because you will be replacing the bikes uh, periodically a lot, or you'll be taking your bike to the bike shop and having to replace bearings and seals and spokes and rims. And why spend the extra money on that when you can just buy yourself a reliable bike? As I said, I bought my son the Kink Curb 21, and that bike is super reliable, and it only cost, I think it was like $300. So a Walmart bike's going to cost you about 200. That's going to break on you. Drop that extra 100 and get your kids a bike that's going to be reliable. If you can't find one at your bike shops, hit up danscomp.com or scbicycles.com. And I guess that ends it for this video. You guys will be seeing an unboxing with the Salvador XL. Once I get it, it should be here soon. It's raining outside, so I hope it doesn't arrive when I have to go pick up my kids from school. Hopefully it gets here soon so I can just bring it in and it's not all soaked or the box don't get wet or anything like that. So I love you guys. Put a helmet on. Ride your bikes. Much love. I'm up and out. Peace.